thank you all for joining today. Those who missed the event, we are recording now for you. This is the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. We do have Catherine Gannon, who is a senior freshman admissions counselor, who will be just going through some of the important things you need to know, especially about the University of Minnesota when it comes to admissions process, some of the resources available to you. So I'll go ahead and pass this over to Catherine.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So again, my name is Catherine. I'll be going over the University of Minnesota Twin Cities today. Just to give a very light overview, we are one of 5 campus systems in the U of M system. Today, we'll just be talking about the Twin Cities location, but a little bit further, we'll get into applying to our university, as well as maybe sharing your application with our other system campuses. So today, we'll start going over the academics. At the U of M Twin Cities, we have over 150 majors and 135 minors available for you to choose from. So if any of you are coming to college, still exploring your interests, or if you know exactly what you want to study, we do have a large variety of these different programs for you to choose from. We're also a land-grant research institution and a Tier 1 research university. So if any of you are interested in doing research at the college level, us being a land-grant research university means that we have about 90 to 95% of the research done in Minnesota is through the U of M campus. So we are a very high research institution. There's over $1.1 billion in research expenditures on our campus. So if any of you have ever eaten a Honeycrisp apple, if you know somebody with a pacemaker, if you wear your seatbelt in the vehicle while you're driving or a passenger, those are just a few different inventions that have come through our campus. And then you also see that 80% of our classes have fewer than 50 students. So I know a worry for a lot of students is that the U of M is a large school and you might be nervous about being one of many students in a classroom. But against what other stereotypes might be of our campus, you're not going to be lost in large lecture halls throughout your college experience. Your average class size will be closer to 50 students. We do have some classes that are also around 20 students on average too. So it's not really as large of a university as it might seem. Those classes will be pretty small for you. Something that's more unique about the U of M Twin Cities is that we have 8 freshmen admitting colleges. So instead of applying for general admissions, you do apply specifically into one of these 8 freshman admitting colleges. So what this really just means is the department in which your major is housed in. So to go over these just very briefly, we have the College of Biological Sciences. This is going to focus on the study of biology and the study of life. And so a few majors in this college will be biology, chemistry, neuroscience. So just those ones that are focusing more on like that study of life side. College of Design will have our design-based majors. So they're going to be really small studio-based programs like architecture, apparel design, interior design, landscape. College of Education and Human Development is a 2-part college. On the education side will be our teaching majors. So if any of you are interested in teaching early education, elementary education, or special education, those are a few of the teaching majors that we have. And then on the human development side will be majors like kinesiology and sports management. And if you might be interested in teaching more at the high school level, you would actually major in the subject that you want to teach. And then your 5th year would be your licensing year to be a licensed teacher. So you might major in math or history or biology to teach those subjects. Next is the College of Food, Agricultural, and Natural Resource Sciences. So this focuses more on like food and animals and maybe like nutrition. So a few of their majors are food science, nutrition, plant science, animal science. So if you like working with like animals or the environment or working more closely with food and like the science of food, those are kind of like the focuses of this college. The College of Liberal Arts is by far our largest academic college. They have about 70 of our 150 majors in just this one academic college alone. So about half the university programs are found in the College of Liberal Arts. So they are a very broad college. They have a lot of different focuses to it. So there are the liberal arts programs. There's music and performing arts. There are humanities majors. There are social science majors. There are math and science majors. There's business majors. So there's a lot to find in the College of Liberal Arts. Next is the Carlson School of Management, and this will be our traditional business school. So if you're looking for like a very typical business related degree, it very likely will be in Carlson. So these programs are going to be like accounting, finance, and marketing, just to name a few. Next on the list is the School of Nursing. This is our smallest academic college. They only have one major, and it is the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. And for anybody who is interested in applying to the School of Nursing, they do have a very strict November 1st deadline. So seniors, this deadline has already passed, but if you are a junior or a sophomore, even a freshman watching this, the deadline every year will be November 1st. And then last on the list is the College of Science and Engineering. This will focus on the hard-based sciences, so like physics, astrophysics, mathematics. And then on the engineering side will be all of our engineering-based majors. So programs like civil, electrical, mechanical, environmental, just to name a few. I think we have 12 or 13 different engineering majors. So with this whole list of freshman admitting colleges, again, you will apply specifically to a freshman admitting college. If you are still deciding on like what major you're interested in, you can list a first choice and a second choice admitting college on your application. So if two of these have sparked your interest, you can list two of those on your application. And then if you are undecided, like completely undecided, exploring all options, you would also apply to the College of Liberal Arts as an undecided student. So there's a lot of different options for the application process with these, but just know that you will apply at least to one of them on your application. And then going over some of the different opportunities for different types of involvement on campus, we have over 900 student organizations. So if you're looking to be involved outside of the classroom, this is probably the best way to help kind of shape your college experience and to really find yourself on a college campus. With having over 900 organizations, they have a lot of different focuses to them on our campus. So we have intramurals and club sports if you might be interested in athletics or in an athletic organization. We have professional organizations related to either the major or the academic college that you're studying in. We have social organizations like sororities and fraternities, so Greek life. We have over 200 cultural-based organizations on campus. We have religious-based, there's just general interest-based. So there's a lot of ways for students, again, to find a lot of different types of involvement. I was not involved in college my first 2 years, and I didn't really get a lot out of my college experience. And my junior and senior year, I was part of a co-ed business fraternity, and that helped to really shape my college experience. So I truly think just joining some sort of organization will really help you, again, to have that feel on campus, to connect with other students who have the same goals or the same interests. And it's just a really great way to have fun outside of the classroom.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I'm sorry, Catherine. Yeah, I would just have to agree with that. I was in President's Emerging Scholars. So the first year I was mentored, and then the second year you get the opportunity and you're eligible to become a mentor yourself. So I did that for 3 years. I would say that's definitely a big thing about being on a big campus, is getting yourself in there, like just dive in. You may find things that you are interested in, you may find things that you don't, but it's really about fitting what you want to do. So if you're into design, get into a design group. But there are so many opportunities to just be involved. And I also want to just speak to, it's going to feel different, right? Like you're not in, physical spaces with people as much today. So just also keep that in mind, that it may feel different, it may be different, but those opportunities are still available.
For sure, thank you. Next on the list, University Honors Program. So when you apply for admission, you are automatically considered for the University Honors Program. So this is kind of like in high school. If you're interested in being a part of honors, if you're in honors classes already, this would be like just being in the honors in U of M. They focus more on collaboration across the university. So you'll be working with students freshman through senior year. Whether you're a freshman, you might be working with current seniors, regardless of what major you're studying. So they're really focusing on that university-wide collaboration, and also focusing on getting honor students outside of the classroom for different types of hands-on involvement. So whereas like research is available for all of our students, having leadership opportunities, doing study abroad, these are things available for every U of M student, but those will be more of requirements if you're a part of the honors program. Next on the list is the Multicultural Center for Academic Excellence, or MK for short. So if you are interested in being a part of one of our cultural-based organizations, those are going to be housed through the MK office. MK also offers free tutoring for students. So I know tutoring typically has a really bad stigma with just the word tutoring. Students don't like that word. But if you are looking for any assistance in class, if there's a subject that you're in that it's not grasping, or if you're getting a B in a class and you're really striving for an A, MK office also offers that free tutoring for students if they are looking for any improvement in their classes. We also have a very comprehensive learning abroad office. So we have one of the largest offices in the nation for study abroad. And I know it sounds kind of weird talking about study abroad right now because we are still very virtual. We are still doing a lot of work from home and classes from home and school from home and things like that. But thinking of back when we were previously in a more normal world, or looking to the future when things will get normal again, if you are looking to do study abroad, we have over 200 programs, and those programs travel to over 60 different countries. So if you do want to have some sort of international experience, we do have your typical like study abroad where you're taking classes abroad. We have volunteer abroad, there's internships abroad, there's research abroad. So there's, again, a lot of ways for students to find some of those different types of experiences. If you're interested in living on campus, we do not require freshmen to live on campus. So I just like to be very upfront about that. It is not a requirement for you. So it's completely optional. If you want to live on campus, about 90% of our incoming class does, again, in a more typical year. But if you want to live at home and save money, if you want to commute to campus, those are all options that are up to you to explore and to choose. But if you do want to live on campus, we have over 35 living learning communities. So this will be a community in a residence hall, either on a specific wing or a specific floor, and that will also have a specific focus to it. So we have living learning communities for specific majors. There is one for like women in STEM. We have Lavender House, which is the LGBT living learning community. There's one called Fetch for students that want to help train service dogs in their residence halls that are pre-vet students. So there's a lot of really unique ways for students to have that sense of community in their residence hall as well, if that's something that you might be interested in. And we'll talk about the housing application in just a few slides as well. And then thinking as you're in this college exploration search process, not only thinking of what resources are available on your college campus, but looking at what's in the community surrounding that school. We are a Big Ten university. We are in the kind of heart of Minneapolis and St. Paul, so in the Twin Cities, in a major metropolitan area. So even though we are in like the hustle and bustle of the city life, we are not downtown. We're just about 2 miles outside of downtown. Dinkytown is a very vibrant neighborhood just across the street from the campus. So if you're interested in living in Dinkytown, there's a lot of different restaurants there. There's a Target Express. There's a lot of student housing there, like off-campus housing. So looking to really see what's in the neighborhoods that are also surrounding your schools. On the east side of campus is Stadium Village, and so that will be where a lot of our athletic complexes are located. We also have the Super Block, which is like 4 of our like freshman residence halls are located near Stadium Village. So looking to see what resources are available just directly off your college campus, I think is something very important to consider when you're making those college decisions. And then, as I mentioned, we are a Big Ten school. So if you are looking to have that large Big Ten experience, we are a Division I school. And for the most part, again, when things are normal, all of our home games, except for 3, are free for students to attend. So men's basketball, football, and hockey are our only events that do require paid admission. Otherwise, anytime the Gophers are playing on our campus at home, all of our other sporting events are free for you to attend. So I know a lot of students are really excited about athletics and being a part of that atmosphere. So just knowing that we have that going on as well. One of my favorite fun facts I learned when I first started working here is we have over 1 million Gopher fans that come to campus every year for athletics. So just being a part of that atmosphere, I think, is something that is really special and really important for a lot of students. And then, so some of our support services that we have, or support programs that we have on campus, one of them is the President's Emerging Scholars Program. So when you apply for admission, you are automatically considered for the PES program. And this is a program primarily for Minnesota students that are coming from a diverse background that may not have had resources to be successful in their communities or in their high schools. And so this program is a way for us to help support you to be successful in college. If you are part of the PES program, it also does come with a $1,000 scholarship for it. You can indicate interest on your application if you would like to be a part of the PES program, but if you have already applied and you didn't select that box, again, we will automatically consider you for this program as well. And then getting a little bit more into the admissions information. So when you're looking to apply for admission, a complete application will include either 3 or 4 items in the top right corner here. So we're looking for your online application form. We are on the Common application as well as the Golden Gopher application. So just filling out one of those 2 platforms. We are looking for self-reported transcripts and self-reported grades. So do not send us your high school transcript. We don't need the official copy. We just need it to be self-reported from you. either on Common App or on the Golden Gopher application. You'll list freshman through senior year, what courses you've taken, what grades you've received, if it was standard level or honors or dual enrollment. And then for senior year courses, you'll just list that they are currently in progress. We have a $55 application fee. And if any of you are a part of the free or reduced lunch program, or if you're eligible for a fee waiver, there's a question on your application that will ask if you qualify for these programs or if you're experiencing any financial hardships. And if you say yes to that question, it will waive this application fee for you directly in your application. And then the biggest change that we have right now is that we do not require ACT or SAT tests for fall 2021 applicants. So I don't think the next slide goes too much more into that. So I'll just take a minute here to just kind of talk about test score information. So when you apply for admission, you will, for fall 2021 students, be asked, would you like to consider test scores as part of your application? It is a very simple, just yes or no question. We don't ask for a reason. We don't ask for anything like that. So just know that when you select yes or no, that will be a final consideration decision. So if you are waiting for a test score to come out, if you have taken the ACT but you haven't received your test scores yet, I would wait to apply, because if you say that you would like them included, but you receive your test scores a couple weeks later and you're not super thrilled about them, you are not able to change that test score consideration after your application is complete. So you have the same consideration for admissions, for honors, for scholarships, regardless if you use a test score or not. And again, if you have a test date that was canceled due to COVID, if you don't feel comfortable going to a testing center due to COVID, or if you don't believe your test score reflects your academic abilities, those are all valid reasons to say no to not including test score. So just being comfortable with that decision that you choose, it will be a final consideration decision. But again, you have the same consideration for admission. So it's not a trick question or anything. It truly is not required for admission. So don't feel pressured into including that if you don't want to use it. For your application, again, you are considered for freshman admissions, honors, and scholarships in the bottom right corner here. So again, equal consideration whether you have a test score included or not, and regardless of which application platform you use, same consideration across the board. And then in the bottom left corner, you'll see our admissions deadlines. So typically we only have 2 admissions deadlines. We added a 3rd deadline this year just to be a little bit more accommodating to students because of COVID and some restrictions that they've seen. So we have our traditional early action deadline, which is on November 1st. Students who apply by our early action deadline will receive their admissions decision by the end of January. We have our new deadline this year is early action 2, which is on December 1st. And students who apply by this deadline will receive an admissions decision by the middle of February. And then our last deadline is our regular deadline, and this is by January 1st. And students who apply by this deadline will hear back by the end of March. So we release admissions decisions every week, regardless of when you apply for admission. Again, you have the same consideration for admissions, honors, and scholarships. I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but the only difference in these deadlines is the time frame in which you're hearing your decision back by. So if you want to apply early action, if you want to wait to apply regular deadline, again, still same consideration across the board. The only difference is the time frame in which you're hearing that decision back by. And then if you're considering which application platform to use, this will be like the difference between the 2 platforms, between Common App and the Golden Gopher application. I recommend Common App for students if you are considering applying to a lot of schools. The Common App is a large national platform, and there's over 700 colleges that are partnered with the Common App to apply to. So if you are looking to apply to a number of schools, and a lot of those partner with the Common App, it could be a very convenient way for you to apply to many schools at once, but it will be a significantly longer application to fill out. Otherwise, if you are only looking to apply to a few schools, I would recommend Golden Gopher in that instance then, because it will be a significantly shorter application, but it's only used for the U of M Twin Cities. Both applications allow you to do a tool called Share My Application. So if you are considering applying to like University of Minnesota Duluth or Crookston, Morris, Rochester, any of our other system campuses, both of these platforms will allow you to do this Share My Application, where you can apply to those other schools for free through your Golden Gopher or Common App application to the Twin Cities location. So that perk is available, again, regardless of which platform you use, but I would more so use the number of schools you're applying to kind of help push in one way or the other on which platform you're using to apply with. But again, both equal consideration with both of these different platforms. And then when we're doing our admissions review, what we're looking for and what we are doing on our end is an individual holistic review for every single student who applies for admission. So there's not one single factor figure that's going to determine your admission. So if you have taken specific courses in high school or specific letter grades that you've received, or if you've taken a test, like an ACT or SAT test score, your admissions decision is not going to come down to just one factor. It will be holistic with everything that you submit to us and share with us. So the last bullet point here, also again, if you on your application, you can list a first choice and an alternate choice college. So if you are interested in two of these different areas, your academic interest will also be an area that we are considering to find the best fit for you as well. But looking more deeply into how we're doing this review, first thing we're looking into is the primary admissions review factors. This is going to have the most consideration in your admissions decision. This is going to be all of the merit components to your application. So what courses you took in high school, what grades you received in those courses, GPA, ACT or SAT scores, if that's something that you can choose to consider or include. And then we'll also use class rank if that's something that your school provides. So these 4 or maybe 5 areas, again, will have the most consideration to see that you're academically prepared and would be successful in college on our campus. But we also do consider secondary admissions factors. And this to me is everything else outside of your academics, your transcript, that information. This to me is what makes you a well-rounded student, and it's what makes you unique. It's what makes you an individual. It's all of your lived experiences. So if you have taken rigorous coursework in high school, if you have any outstanding talents or achievements or awards that you've received, if you have volunteer work or community service, if you have a part-time job, if you have any obligations in your family or any additional responsibilities, if there's any personal circumstances that you've overcome or any barriers that you've overcome. The last bullet point on here also goes over extenuating circumstances. So if anything might have impacted your time or attendance in high school or your grades, and you're comfortable sharing that information with us, we only have to review on your application anything that you share with us. So especially even outside of extenuating circumstances, just making sure that you take the time on your application to include all of this information that you find important. But again, if there's anything that you would like to share that you personally overcame, there is an additional information text box on your application. You can share this information with us if you think it would be important for us to consider in your application review. And then looking more into the courses that we want students to take in high school, these course requirements on here will be very close to what you need to graduate from a Minnesota high school. So we're looking specifically for 4 years of English and math, 3 years of science and social studies, 2 years of a single second language. So that would be like taking Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, or French 1 and French 2, just 2 years of one foreign language, and then 1 year of a visual or performing art. So if your school counts it as a visual or performing art class, we will take it as that course. So sometimes I see culinary arts is listed as this. It's cooking, it's not an art class, but if schools count it as art, we will use it for art. For the 3 years of science, if you are interested in applying to the College of Biological Sciences or the College of Science and Engineering, we do specifically look for biology, chemistry, and physics. So just to know that those are the only 2 academic colleges that do require specific courses to be taken in science in high school. And then with these minimum course requirements, we do look for we do notice that our strongest applicants typically not only meet these requirements, but also exceed them. So if you are considering taking a stronger level of math or a 4th year of science, or maybe a 3rd or 4th year of a foreign language, we do typically see students exceeding these requirements. But again, if you might not have 1 year of a visual or performing art, or you only have 1 year of a foreign language, because we do a holistic review, not meeting one of these requirements will not make or break your application, because it does not come down to one fact or figure. So again, it will be that holistic review, but we are typically seeing students meet and exceed these requirements. And then getting into some scholarship and financial aid information. When you apply for admission, again, you are automatically considered for scholarships. They will be highly competitive. So we're typically seeing about the top 5 to 10% of each academic college is receiving a scholarship. So we also highly recommend students to look outside of the university for additional scholarship opportunities. So that might be looking at fastweb.com or collegeboard.org. These are reputable websites that have outside scholarships that allow you to take these awards if you receive one to pretty much any university in the US. We also have a You Promise scholarship. And so this is a guaranteed need-based scholarship for Minnesota residents. If your family's income is up to $120,000, this will guarantee you between $300,000 and $4,000 each year for 4 years. And the You Promise scholarship does specifically require the FAFSA to be on file, which is the free application for federal student aid. And we'll get into that bullet point here in just a couple of minutes. Otherwise, as we're thinking about costs and things like that, we do have a flat 13 credit rate tuition policy. So when you're considering what courses you're taking in college, if you maybe want to do a double major or a major minor, or if you're coming in with college credit and you want to graduate early, any college credits that you're taking after 13 on our campus are going to be free for you to take. So students will we typically see take 15 to 18 credits per semester. So again, if you want to have some extra courses to take, if you want that double major, if you want to take some fun electives, that tuition will be a flat rate for you. So typically with tuition and fees, we're seeing about $15,500 for students. And again, living on campus is not required. So if you do want to live on campus, the average cost of room and board with a meal plan is about $10,800. And then, as I mentioned, financial aid. We have the FAFSA and the Minnesota DREAM Act. So if you are looking for any assistance paying for college, typically we do see a lot of students filing the FAFSA, and they have need-based scholarships, grants, and work study, as well as typically student loans being offered to you to help you pay for college. Otherwise, if you are an undocumented student, we also have the Minnesota DREAM Act, which that has a few other requirements as well. But we also have this for students who are looking for any assistance paying for college that might not have a social security number to do the FAFSA. So that's a little bit light overview again on financial aid. We do have a one-stop student service office that will kind of house everything tuition related. Otherwise, us in the admissions office can help with more of scholarship-based questions that you have. And then if you have applied and you're just considering or questioning what's coming up next, there's a lot of bullet points here, but this will just kind of be throughout the rest of senior year, after your application has been submitted, kind of what those next steps look like. So after you apply, you'll receive a student ID, and this will give you access to your application tracker. And so your application tracker allows you to see the status of your application. So if your application is complete, we will either be admitting, deferring, waitlisting, or denying will be the decisions that you may see on your application. But the app tracker is where you can keep up with those decisions as they may come out. If you're interested in applying for housing, the housing application just opened about 3 weeks ago. And it's open until May 1st. We guarantee freshman housing until May 1st. So housing is able to apply any point in time that you would like to. If you were interested in living in a living learning community, the priority application deadline for living in an LLC is March 1st. But again, we will still guarantee housing until May 1st. If you are looking to, again, file the FAFSA and receive that financial aid package, I recommend this for students, even if you aren't looking to take out student loans or if you're considering a lot of schools. It is free to file the FAFSA, and this will be the best indicator of what you are going to be looking to expect to pay in college. So we will send financial aid packages towards the beginning of the year. Our priority deadline to file the FAFSA is the beginning of March. And so that is for us to be able to give you a financial aid package back with your estimated cost of tuition, show you about scholarships that you may be receiving, to make a financial decision about the colleges that you're considering before the May 1st confirmation deadline. So if you are going to come to school here, the national confirmation deadline is May 1st. And that is typically for students across the US to confirm and let those schools know by May 1st that you intend to enroll there. And then if you do confirm your enrollment with us, just kind of over the summer, the next kind of steps that you would have would be sending in any final documents. And those are typically due by July 1st. So sending in your final high school transcript to let us know that you graduated. And then if you apply with test scores, we just need to see an official test score on file to match the ones that you have self-reported. You only need to send us your highest composite that you self-report. So if you self-report a few scores with us, you only need to send your highest composite. And then lastly is registering for orientation and signing up for your classes that you'll be attending. And then once September rolls around, later next year. It feels kind of crazy to even be thinking about that already. But September next year will be when classes start, and you'll start as a Golden Gopher. So this will be, again, a very long timeline of all of the things coming up next. But if you might be like me and you're a planner, this will just kind of help to see what a lot of those next steps will look like over the next 6 to 8 months or so. But that's just kind of all the information I have here. I want to thank you all for either attending today or watching this presentation. If you have any questions, again, this is my contact information. So I have my email. If phone calls work better for you, I have my office phone on here. Otherwise, if texting works better for you, I have a texting only number as well too. So feel free to reach out if there's any questions I can help with. But if there's anybody who has a question right now, I am more than happy to help answer those for you.
I do have a question on behalf of some of the high school students. So if you are in high school and let's say junior year, and is typically when you have the option of doing PSEO depending on your grades and everything. Yeah. How does admissions work for PSEO students?
Yes, so if you're taking PSEO through the U of M Twin Cities, there is a very small advantage we have for those students. You still have the same consideration for admission, so that's not a perk, but you will hear your admissions decision back a little bit sooner. So if you apply for the early action deadline on November 1st, typically those students hear back by the end of January. But if you're doing PSEO through the U of M Twin Cities, you will hear back by the middle of December instead of the end of January. So back a little bit sooner. So that's really the only benefit if you're taking PSEO through the U of M Twin Cities. Otherwise, if you're doing PSEO through like Normandale or through another school, it's still the same consideration for admission. But if you want to see how those college credits might transfer in, we also recommend you using transferology.com, and that will show how we have typically accepted those college credits in the past.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought transferology. I've heard of that and I've used it before, and it's super helpful when trying to figure out what classes you're taking, like how would they line up, so you really have a baseline knowledge of what you're going to be paying, different things of that nature when you are applying for the University of Minnesota. With that said, I know there when it comes to like North Hennepin Community College or Hennepin Tech. So if you are a student who is transferring or even a student outside of Minnesota, how is that process? Is it different, or is it very, very similar to being a Minnesota student and just applying to the University of Minnesota?
That's a great question. So transferring looks a little bit different than freshman admission, but it is still competitive. Because we are a land grant research institution, our priority is Minnesota students. So if you do go to like North Hennepin or Hennepin Tech and you are a Minnesota student transferring to the U of M, we do have a priority and a preference and really like a dedication to Minnesota students to put them first. So those admissions opportunities across the board, I don't want to say it's easier for Minnesota students, but our number one priority is Minnesota students. So admission would be more competitive for an out-of-state student applying either for freshman admission or for transfer admission. So that focus again still would be for the Minnesota residents. But if you are applying for transfer admission, we're going to be looking at a little bit some other factors as well. If you have completed and have 24 or more transferable credits, so not just completed credits, but transferable credits that we will accept, we will not look at high school information. So in years past, if students weren't thrilled with their ACT scores and maybe they weren't performing really well in high school, once they went to another community college and received 24 or more transferable credits, we will only consider your college information. So we'll be looking at your college GPA as well as how many credits you're receiving in college to transfer in. Otherwise, if you go to a community college for a year and kind of get the feel of college down first before you're interested in transferring to the U of M, if you have less than those 24 transferable credits, we will still consider your high school information as part of the application process.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And I just have one more question. This is more based on your own personal ideas, but do you have any last advice for just prospective students in general or high school students who are like, I have to start thinking about college? What are some things that you would say are really kind of the best practices when thinking about college in general or university in general?
That's a good question. I feel like I have a lot of answers to this question, so I'm hopefully I'll like sum it up with like a nice response. I think there's a lot of different things to think about when you're looking for like the ideal college. I don't think there is one perfect university. I think there are a number of perfect fits for you. It's not just one school. So I would really take the time to look at not only just looking at schools and doing the research online, seeing what majors they have, seeing what programs they have for you to be successful, but going and walking on their college campuses. I know things are weird right now because a lot of schools don't have a lot of in-person classes, but if you don't go walk on a college campus, you might think that you might not never know that it's too big of a school or too small of a school or it's too close to home or it's too far away from home. So if you're able to, I would definitely recommend just going and touring the schools, whether it's a formal visit through an office once we're back open again, or if it's just on the weekends to just go walk around and see what that campus feels like. I think that's a very vital part to see if it feels like the right place for you. And also, again, just thinking of what's in the community around that college campus. We are, again, in a major metropolitan area, so a lot of students really like that there is a lot to do in the Twin Cities off our campus. If you want to go to the state fair, if you want to go to a professional sporting event, there are a lot of things to do. But there's also other schools that might be more rural than us, where they are a small college town and the closest grocery store is 20 or 30 minutes away. So really not only just considering what's on that college campus and what they have to offer, but what the community and that city has to offer as well. Because I think a lot of times students are, in myself included, you're hyper focused on just that college, but not only what the community can offer for you as well too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, that just reminds me in general of the University of Minnesota because it is such a big school, but it's also, you have St. Paul campus, West Bank, East Bank. So it's kind of separated in that, but it's really difficult to make a small school feel big. And then when you're at the university, it's kind of easy to make a big university feel small. That's something I heard from one of the people I met with in peer mentoring. And I mean, it's really true. And again, I just want to say, yeah, COVID is here and it's it's very difficult for a lot of people. But I will say, if you have any questions or if you have anything that's related to your circumstances as a student, I would say feel free to reach out to admissions in general to figure out like what are some of the opportunities there. And also, again, Catherine, like you said, do your research. Just be very proactive as a student, as a high school student, or even a transfer student who's thinking about the U of M Twin Cities. Just be proactive in that. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different, but those opportunities are still there and we're all trying to be flexible.